face of death, I shall have no remorse.
Alright, so this one is a fun one. We got the Warhammer 40K mod for Hearts of Iron 4, and this one basically has just one nation to choose, the Imperium of Man. Stuck in the Himalayan area over there, right next to Tibet. Pretty good spot, actually, and that's where we're going to begin our mighty offensive. Now, unlike the last game, where the CIS get like almost no resources whatsoever, these guys get like 300 of every single resource, get power armor, and on top of this, they have a multitude of different ways for them to just be able to squash shit. First and foremost, the power armor thing. Power armor is used for the Space Marines. So yeah, you can build Space Marines as the Imperium of Man, and holy fuck, they are powerful. Like, one regular default division of the Space Marines, without upgrades whatsoever, has about, let me check through the recording really quick, actually. I'm gonna have to check that out, but I think it's like about 1600 soft power. So once you have something like that, then you can just like wipe the floor with literally anything that comes in your way. I also have an Imperial Guard regiment that I can use, but because of the fact that there's like no manpower whatsoever, and I also forgot to use the coring mod that somebody thankfully told me about, which allows me to core conquered regions, I didn't really have a lot of manpower to use. However, I didn't really need a lot of manpower, because the Space Marines are so fucking overpowered. They're so fast, they run 8 kilometers an hour, and they just huff it to these light tanks and then blow them up and then run away. And I just wiped the fucking floor with anybody in my way. First things first, with these measly 6 units, I'm just able to conquer this small little Chinese nation over there. I don't know what it's called. I don't know the history behind it. It's called like, fuck. Jibai-san? Yeah, I have no fucking clue what the fuck Jibai-san is. But essentially, I wiped the floor with them. And you're going to see this a lot. I have numerically a very, very small force. But it's all made up of Space Marines, so who gives a fuck? I'm able to shred off soft power just like that. I'm able to kind of take all the damage possible, win any fight I want. I can attack over a river that's like the troops are on a mountain tile, and there's like 10 of them, and I'll still be able to win because that one Space Marine can do enough soft power damage to just annihilate forces. It's really overpowered, actually. This mod is like, quite frankly, one of the most overpowered mods I've played, because there's like no way for these factions to even face off against the Space Marines, honestly. Like, I just wiped the floor with them. As you can see right now in the video, China is basically dying. They're trying their best to stop my advance, but with the Japanese coming in at the same time, it's just like easy peasy lemon squeezy. And once I see that, I kind of go like, okay, fuck the Imperial Guard regiments. We're going all power armor. We're going all Space Marines, and we're just gonna go on a great fucking crusade. Unfortunately, I had a pretty shit navy, so I wasn't going to invade Japan, and I didn't want to get into war with the British Raj, because obviously I don't want another repeat of UK Boogaloo shit-aroo, which always is fucking annoying, especially when you don't have a strong navy. But the USSR was open. So what I did was I just stacked up a bunch of power armor, and then afterwards tech up as much as humanly possible, build enough Space Marines to really try and like overwhelm them with just sheer numbers of supermen, just like an army full of superboys, and then just let them go crazy. So right now over here, finishing up the Chinese conquests, you know, slowly and slowly, bit by bit. They were a little bit of a nuisance when it came to the changing cities and the capitals, but once I was able to take out the majority of their forces, it was like no problem whatsoever. I did beforehand a test of these Space Marines in the previous test LP that I did with the Imperium of Man, and I found that if you don't have enough supplies, they do start to die out through attrition. But if you get like the supply chains going with the Space Marines, man, these guys, it doesn't even fucking matter how many dudes the enemy has, they just kill them all. And they only have like at their default division about 2,800 manpower, so they don't cost anything at all for you to actually use. You can make a good amount of Space Marines off of a very small population base. It's really quite wonderful. This was one of the easiest mods I've ever had to play, and I didn't have any trouble whatsoever. It's kind of a little bit boring actually, because there's no national focuses for the Imperium of Man as well, besides the default aviation industry, yada yada yada. So it's not exactly like a very content heavy mod. as I would put it, which is quite unfortunate, actually. I do like my national focuses, but it is what it is. I gotta say, I would love to play this mod again, but it does need a lot more work. Like, obviously, it focuses on the Imperium of Man, maybe more factions. Like, there are two ideas. You could do Age of Strife Humanity, where it's the Imperium of Man trying to unite all the different, like, tribes and clans of the human race on Earth. So, you got the Akhmedidians, and then you have the bootleg Russians, and the bootleg Vikings, and the bootleg everybody that you need to try and conquer. And these are like techno barbarian dudes that you gotta unify, and that would be really cool to actually play around with. Actually, really cool stuff. Also, maybe possibly even different races. Make like keep the Hearts of Iron 4 World War II setting, but instead just add in like Tyranids, Eldar, that sort of shit. That'd be really wonderful. Maybe Tyranids just have a manpower boom, and same thing with the Orcs, but the Orcs are more focused on melee, right? So they would be, their infantry units would be better. And the Tyranids, I guess, would have research bonuses to, you know, kind of like suit their adaptability. I don't really know what the Eldar would have. I guess they would have speed. Not only do we have like Space Marines, but we also do have Imperial Guard vehicles and Space Marine vehicles. So you have stuff like the Malkador, the Land Raider Crusader, Predators. I don't end up building them because they're kind of useless in comparison to the Space Marines. Like, the Space Marines are just so good, there's no reason to build anything else besides Space Marines. It's quite fucking ridiculous, actually. 1200 fucking manpower. I mean, not 1200 manpower, like 1800 soft power, if you can really, like, boost them up more and more. Just, like, a crazy amount of shit. So right now begins the Soviet attack here. Just going through them, nomming them up, just, you could just see it right now. It's just a fucking massacre is what it is. Just bit by bit, the Soviets are losing their territory, and I don't really need to do much here. Like, I stopped my Imperial Guard production altogether, focused on repairing infrastructure, and then I just set my guys on offensive, and it's pretty much just a waiting game. Like, this isn't like the CIS that requires a lot of micro. This is like just turning off your brain and just letting the AI go crazy. Eventually I get bored, so I just start to right click on Moscow and have the Space Marines go crazy. And as you can see, the Space Marines, they're so powerful, they can just like lead this assault, get completely cut off, and still keep moving. It's just fucking insane. I have like little bastions of Space Marine forces sticking out in the mountains with no supplies whatsoever, and then the enemy will constantly attack me over and over and over again, and nothing would happen. Like, they would just immediately lose right then and there. You could take 20 guys, attack one Space Marine dude, one Space Marine unit, and still would live. It's like one of the most lore, I guess, accurate ways of depicting Space Marine power I've ever seen. Usually when it comes to like these mods for Warhammer 40K, they either make the Space Marines too weak, or they fuck up in some other way where the Space Marines aren't really Space Marines, right? Like, for instance, a lot of people were mad in the Men of War mod that I did a while back, where the Space Marines went prone. Personally, for me, going prone is a natural thing to do, but I don't fucking know. I don't know if the Space Marines cannot physically go prone. It feels like that's really retarded that you would build these soldiers that can't actually go prone. Like, how the fuck do you make your units not go prone? Wait, hold on a second. They could definitely go prone. That is like some, I can't even understand that. Like, that's impossibly stupid. But maybe I'm fucking wrong here, but I don't know. Maybe culturally they don't go prone, but physically not going prone, that's like, oof, no. But yeah, like, it's, I think this is like one of the most, lore, I guess, accurate mods, because what happens if you do put Warhammer 40K units in, you know, or Warhammer 40K factions in World War II? Oh, they would probably wipe the floor. Like, one, the Space Marines have bolter rounds, then they have plasma guns, plasma cannons. What the fuck? They just melt through shit. Easy peasy. In fact, if you kind of like take away the fact that a lot of the Imperial Guard weapons are World War II based in terms of their aesthetics, and World War I based, and you put like actual real world like accurate stats instead of like, oh hey, there's 1,000 Space Marines. Like, no, have it like 1,000,000 or something. If you do stuff like that, then yeah, the Space Marines, damn, those guys, they would be fierce even against like a modern military. That would be interesting to see a modern military face off against the Space Marines. Maybe like 1 or 10 they could probably kill, but like a whole like chapter of them, I don't know. I don't know. That is something that I definitely can't like see the modern military winning, especially since they could just drop pot in and then get the fuck out. Though, you know what? Actually, I'll raise it even more. They would definitely lose against like an Imperial Guard expedition or something with Space Marine support. It's just a done deal. Honestly, if one Orc Spore came to our planet, it'd probably be game over. Like, we'd have to deal with Orcs forever and ever and ever. And that's not good. Definitely not good. Who wants to deal with Orcs? So yeah, we do end up, like, eventually being able to get to Moscow. And then, like, kind of sealing away the deal. And finally, as you can see right now, bam, just gobbling up all these Soviet territories. And there's the Imperium of Man right there. It is... oh, beautiful state right there. I do want to do more of these Hearts of Iron 4 mods, but I would like more suggestions. I do have another one coming up, which is a lot more memeier. I don't know if it's going to be easier or harder. We'll have to definitely see. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.